Just as a reminder, we have 12 micro learning sessions. We ask for 45 minutes of your time once a week to change your life, help you be more successful, make more money, and enjoy your life. And we think that's a small price to pay, 45 minutes. The first session we had last week, Tuesday, understanding the sales transaction, the position yourself to win the deal. And the main takeaways there is that you get to make your own choices. You hold yourself responsible and you hold yourself accountable, and you'll have success. It goes up on the website, tomorrow, the day after. Those of you who have not seen it, it is the most impactful. It's the most important thing that you'll ever listen to, and how you set the strategy of your success in your life. Very, very powerful. Today, we're going to be developing and executing your sales plan. The next one is sell to all personality types by leveraging the DISC. Prospecting above the line is October 6th. Prospecting below the line, and prospecting becomes an absolute critical portion and an aspect of your success and what your business plan needs to look like. And then we have handling objections before you actually get to the objections, setting the stage. And then we're going to go through a 4-part series of the multi-sales step process that TAG has developed. And that process allows you to have that customer respect you and trust you. That's what that whole process is for. It's one of the really differentiators in the marketplace, that your competition does not use the steps that we use in order to establish control of the transaction and to win the respect and win the trust of that customer. And we know that the customer buys you first. That's why being a 20, as we discussed in the first session, is so critical. And they're going to buy, the company second, and they're going to buy the product third. But when it comes to the you side, they buy you first, and they buy that they like you, they trust you, and they respect you. And this sales process gives us the ability to do that. We're going to go into performing a successful assessment and how to perform that assessment, the right questions to ask, and who to bring in to help in the transaction and transition. And then we go into recommendations before finalizing the sale process. And this is one of the key ingredients that our competition does not do. And they go in, they present, they go in, they gather information, they gather that information, they go present all the information, they ask for the order. Absolute insanity. If any of you are doing that, you really need to understand the sales process, that you can't rush it. People can only simulate so much information. And the reason that we notice this is that, and why we know it was different, because we take things for granted. As new members would come in or struggling to sell their IT, we said, well, let's see your sales process. And 100% of them, they go in, first appointment, gather information, put an analyzer on the network, take all that information, go back to the customer, show them what they found, and then present a contract and put it in front of them. Absolutely does not work. This gives you a competitive advantage in the marketplace. And then we have, closing your AT or Azure deal. And if it's a cloud transaction or a surveillance transaction, it's the sales process of closing on the last appointment. And then the final one is TAG sales process Q&A, that we're going to just open up to everything that you guys have discovered, what you're doing, how you're doing it, why you're doing it, and so forth as we go through these sessions. Today, let's develop and execute a sales plan. Here's what we know. A salesperson is in business for themselves without risk. And that's a key concept that you need to understand. What that really, really means is that you have to have the same thing that the company that you work for has. And what is that? Is that you have to be an owner of the company to communicate more effectively with your customer. If you're in business for yourself and don't have the risk, you have to come in and say, okay, as a business owner, and if you approach that prospect as a business owner versus a salesperson, who has a higher probability of being success? And this is why being a 20 is so critical in the first portion of this sales training that was last Tuesday, is that you need to visualize using psychocybernetics. You need to visualize yourself as the owner, providing business solutions, and talk to them as a business owner. And what does that mean to be a business owner? All right. That means you know your business, you have budgeting, you have goals, you have marketing, you have promotion, you have branding for yourself. And if you realize that your occupation is you're in business for yourself without the risk, you'll be a lot more successful. What does every business need? Well, we have goals which are short-term and long-term goals. In a business, we call that budgeting. A business has the need to have cash management, find out where the cash is going, what things are being spent on, what are your sales projections. Why do you think your sales manager or your owner of a company wants to know, well, what are the sales projections? Because when we budget at a tag, we say, what is the amount of sales, but more importantly, what kind of sales are you going to have? Because your mix of your sales will determine your profitability. And that's no different than you as a salesperson. What are the products that you have available? What's your mix of products that you have available? And how do you plan to sell each one of those products to be more successful? You need to set up a budget. You need to say, okay, here's what I'm going to sell this month. Here's the product I want to sell this month. And then we develop the plan to facilitate the sales of those products. And you match those sales up with what are your needs from a monetary, your rent is your house payment, your car payment, your electricity, your groceries. Everything you do is generated by your business. And if you look at it as a business, you're going to be more successful. And that's why sales projections are so important. And that's why we look at projections by what's the product. Because some products allow you to be more successful financially than others. And the challenge that we have here is that some of us have grown up in an era that we would go out and sell a PBX for $50,000, $40,000. We'd sell, $1 million a month, and we'd be making, $100,000, $150,000 a year selling the PBXs. Well, that business no longer exists. Everything has gone to a recurring revenue model. However, there's still products and services that we can sell on a cash basis that's on a finance basis that is not subscription based. When we start teaching our tag members to be successful and stay in business, we said, you know what? You got to lower the amount of what you sell on a hardware. You have to raise the amount that you do on recurring revenue. Well, you know what's the same thing a salesperson has to do is that learn to create that recurring revenue so that the hardware sales no longer become as important, and it shelters you from the hard times, the slow times, and the rough times, and you stabilize your business. And then the other thing is once you hit your nirvana, which means you covered all your expenses, all right, through recurring revenue, you now get to pick and choose what customers you want, what you do want to sell on a hardware basis, in addition to your recurring revenue. Extremely important to understand that point. A commission schedule. Know what you get paid and what you get paid for what services. Absolutely important to understand that I want to create recurring revenue. Therefore, I'm going to create IT services, cloud and MSP, or Azure. That's our largest account where we get to increase our recurring revenue for you and for your company and for the company that you work for. The other one is cloud voice over IP. You sell a cloud system, phone system on cloud. In addition to that, you have the ability to sell SIP technology, and you get commission on the SIP. You get commission on the carrier side of the business, along with the cloud. And that's why if we're not selling those phones and we're providing the phones, we're going to have a higher recurring revenue. If you're trying to cover cash calls, you go sell the phones, but long-term, that costs you a lot of money to do that. Short-term, you have cash while you're doing the balancing act. We're able to sell a WatchGuard on every transition we go out on, whether I'm selling IT services, I'm selling voice cloud, I get to put in a WatchGuard firewall. Very easy to sell it because I'm on a monthly basis. But once I have the firewall in there, what else do I get to sell on top of that? I get to sell cybersecurity. All right, because I start talking about the security that's built in on total security on your firewall. And then we get to talk about what? The cybersecurity, the phishing, the dual authentication, everything that surrounds the cybersecurity for a monthly recurring revenue, along with the SOC. And we also get to do wireless access points for the Wi-Fi. Now, cabling is a cash transaction. We can finance it, but you know what? We finance it. What does that mean? It means the customer gets the benefit of monthly payments, but you get the benefit of the full cash. You pay off your suppliers, and you have a net profit. What you need to do is then you can also do this with video surveillance and access control, is that you can go sell the cameras on a lease, or you can take the cameras and talk about the CTAP down below here, of I can put that and provide it. You still own the equipment, and every 3 years you go in and you're able to sell to that customer 50% of what you sold them originally. For example, if I put in a $40,000 camera system, I can finance that for X amount of dollars a month on a CTAP. It includes my partner program. It includes all the services that I'm going to provide. It includes the ability to upgrade software. As the cameras change out at the 3rd year, I can replace the cameras with the differentiation of cameras. And in 3 years, most of the cameras are all going to have AI built into it. So when you're selling them, say, you know what, in 3 years, AI is going to come in. I'm going to take 50% of your cameras and turn them into artificial intelligence cameras, which is going to really excel your business. Once again, now you're not selling a camera system. You're selling a business solution to that customer. And your competition doesn't even mention AI that's coming down. I have a program in 3 years. I'll come in and replace, 50% of your cameras, and your monthly payment will stay the same. You'll never see an increase. So I've also had the ability now to protect you from the 2 risks of technology: obsolescence and fixing your cost. That becomes another major transaction for you. And then, those of us who are selling copy machines, we know how much we get on a copy machine, and we say, okay, I'm going to sell a copy machine. I'm going to do 1 IT service. I'm going to do 2 cloud services. And by the way, once I sell a WatchGuard, once I sell those, WatchGuard automatically becomes as a given, and then you're able to expand on that. And I have other products and services that you sell that, I don't know, maybe thermal cameras or whatever else that you're selling. As a business owner, different than we tell our tag members, look at your stack of business, look at your product lines, understand where you're making the most money, understand your efforts need to go to 2 areas: high recurring revenue, and if you are going to sell hardware, where's the one that is the easiest to sell, because the industry still hasn't taken on to a recurring revenue model for that. I particularly chose the hotel industry. I average a hotel about every 45 days, and that hotel will produce at the end of the day anywhere from $25,000 to $35,000 a month to me. Every P&L statement I get, I'm averaging anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 pure profit. Goes straight to the bottom line, because all my expenses are covered, and then my recurring revenue is above that. So I'm getting $20,000 plus the increase in my recurring revenue. So therefore, I'm making 28 points EBITDA. All right, very, very profitable company. You as a salesperson have that same capacity, the same capability of what's your nut, what do you have to do to increase recurring revenue? And now here's what I tell salespeople. Work for me for 5 years, and you're going to sit here with anywhere from $4,000 to $6,000 a month in reoccurring revenue. And we can do modeling for you. We can show you what you're doing. Those of you who are interested in saying, okay, I really want to delve into the product and services, and here's the commission I have. How do I start planning the sales of what I'm going to be able to do? Understanding your commission schedule, understanding what products you want to sell, what your product mix is no different than the company that you have in your own business. When you develop this business plan, you got to have a marketing plan. You have to market yourself first and foremost, all right? But you need to understand above the line prospecting, below the line prospecting, because your number one priority as a salesperson is to do what? bring in opportunities. Now, we have discovered that if you don't have appointments, that means you're not calling into the base, or you're not making cold phone calls, or you're not marketing yourself. And those of you who know Ryan Mulvaney, he started a program as a beta, and he said, hey, Dale, I'm talking to our tag members. I'm asking them to record their phone calls. I'm working with them. I'm trying to get them to do it. Why don't we do it for them, charge them for it, because we know how to do it. We'll actually do it. So he said, you know what, Brian, go start that beta, see how it goes out. So he brought in 3 companies. That beta produced 10 appointments in 35 days per beta site. So 3 tag members got 10 appointments. Some of them were really large opportunities. Some of them were smaller opportunities, but they had the appointments to go increase their recurring revenue or sell a cash item. 10 appointments was more than some of our tag members could physically handle, because we have a pretty good close ratio. And what we're doing now is that he's going to start scaling that. We're going to pick certain tag members, those that have definitely gone through the program, those that understand what we're trying to do, and allow us to make appointments for them. And we're trying to figure out the pricing for that, of what our costs have been, what we've invested into the program, and what we have to pay the marketers, what we have to pay for technology, and so forth. But tag members are going to have that opportunity to have as many appointments as they really want to be able to have. That program works. That also now becomes part of your plan of saying, okay, X amount of appointments, how am I going to get them? What am I going to work with? But we know that we usually pay a salesperson 70% of what they make is for the opportunity to have an appointment with somebody. The rest, the company helps with, and we have a sales process that we go through that. We have a full session on marketing above the line and below the line that you need to take a look at. We also have a marketing program for you, and it sends out, this one is Microsoft Azure. We've capitalized on the hundreds of thousands of dollars that Microsoft is spending on Azure. They go, Microsoft Azure, oh, I've heard that. Oh, iNet does that. Simplified cloud computing solutions and hit the market. Learn more. Website and a phone number. When they call in, they're talking to a salesperson that's going to handle that transaction if they call in. You as a salesperson, I ask you, how many of you are using the tag marketing program? If you're not sending out a couple thousand emails a month, you're not utilizing the program. Worst case, it gets your name out there so that when you do come into another opportunity, they at least heard of your name. If I'm selling cloud services, Cloud Voice cuts your phone bills. This will make your CO happy, really, really happy. Call us today, iNet. All right. Our ads are designed to be short, quick, visual, get our name out there, get our phone number out there, and let people know what we do. These kinds of ads need to be going into your base every month of what services do you want to sell to your base, how do you want to protect them, and move forward. And with the tag program, when they open that e-marketing campaign, by the 3rd time they open it, the salesperson that's been assigned to gets this email. It says, John Smith, who's the CEO of ABC Company, this is his email address, here's his phone number, and oh, by the way, here's the campaign that he opened, Managed IT Services. We have a whole section on how to respond to this, all right? Learn how to respond to it without saying, hey, John, I see you opened the email I sent you. You walk in, we have a script selling IT services. John goes, oh, I just saw that. Yeah, I was looking into that. Yeah, Dale, I'd like to meet with you. But you got to make the phone call on it. And you understand it's top of mind, and you have a higher probability of a close with a transaction. If this isn't part of your business plan, if you're not utilizing it, you got to shift things around. You got to get to a concept of saying, what's my marketing plan? What am I going to do with appointments? What's the product line that I'm selling? How am I going to sell it? And why am I selling it? In conjunction with this, you do a life business plan. What happens is we say, okay, well, how much money do you want to make? Well, here's the beautiful thing about being a salesperson. It's the only profession that you have. You want to go make more money? Go sell something. Go sell something more. And oh, by the way, you went through all of your product lines that you have. You know where you make the most money. You know where you have the highest degree of increasing your recurring revenue. And what I do with each salesperson, I say, monitor your recurring revenue on a monthly basis. How much is it growing by? Because here's what recurring revenue does. If I sell something and I get $50 a month for recurring revenue, a product of the 9 products that we have, next month when I sell another one for $50 that I get, I now have $100, don't I? Well, the third month I have 150. The fourth month I have 200. On and on and on. And you look at the power of that building up that reoccurring revenue is by the end of 2 to 3 years, you're sitting with $4,000 to $6,000 a month on reoccurring revenue, and you have a better relationship with your customer. All right. And here again, everyone has different commission plans. Some of us are on a salary against commission, whatever the case may be. But know your commission plan, know your products, and determine how much money you want to make, because that's going to go back to what's your product mix and what are you selling and how you're selling it. The other thing is that when you look at your things, that usually dictates how much money you need. I want to educate my children. Well, what does that mean? You better put money inside in a 539 plan for them. All right. Oh, I want to go have a jet ski so I can enjoy my summer weekends. Well, what's that cost? What do you have to sell to get that? And that's called budgeting. All right. And when you have a budget, you maintain that budget, you plan and you save. And the first thing you do is you pay yourself 10% as much as you can put away in your 401k plans or your Roth plans. Put away as much as you can, because that saving dollars also starts compounding for you. All right. And then we have our passions. Once you know what the things that you have, you know that the dollars that you have, you concentrate on your passions. And, we say that the favorite question I ask somebody is that, okay, you don't have any need to go work. You have all the money you ever want. What would you be doing? Well, that means you're going to do what your passions are. So I asked myself that question. I said, well, I'll be drinking more wine and more expensive wine. All right. It was all good. So what's your passions? What do you enjoy doing the most? What are the things that you want in life? What's the dollars that you want those things? And, and as we go through life, we all read the book Passages. Your life changes as you go through life and as you get older and things change for you. All right. And that's why we do a life business plan. We'll typically do it for 5 years. And once a year, we update it. And those of us who do that, no different. The tag members who make the most money are the ones who have strong budgeting. Well, if we know that's for true, as a salesperson who's in business for themselves, why would you not have strong budgeting? Where are you going to make the money? How are you going to make the money? What product are you going to sell? No different than the company you work for. That's the same identical thing that they do. Take a look at and understand that. In your planning, you have A priorities, B priorities, and C priorities. A priorities are what you do best and what you make your money doing. And when we mentor a salesperson, on Fridays, we say, you know what, Joe, send me your calendar for next week. And if his calendar or her calendar is filled up for next week by 80%, we know they're going to make their numbers, and especially if 80% of what's on their calendar is an A priority. I'm a salesperson. What's my A priority? Prospecting and proposing. Look at your calendars on Friday, this Friday. Look at your calendars for next week. Look at what you have scheduled. First of all, if it's not scheduled for 80% of it's filled out, you're not going to make your numbers no matter what they are. Number two, the schedules that you have on your calendar, are they your A priorities? Are they prospecting and proposing? If they are, you will make the numbers that you've said you're going to need to have for $1. It just works that way. Now, B priorities. This is what we delegate. We talked about it last week. Why do people do things they don't enjoy doing? All right, delegate them out. I don't take the garbage out. I don't take my car to get washed. I don't spend time, cleaning my house. I don't spend time working around the yard. I don't enjoy those things. So I'll hire somebody to do something, because in my budget, all right, I've budgeted another sale to take care of all the stuff that I don't enjoy doing, that I can do what with? I can take that time and develop my marketing, develop my sales process, become a better salesperson, understand my products better, and become better than that other sales guy that I'm competing against. I delegate it out, use that time to make myself more effective and more successful. Now, C, priorities. Those are the things that we put on our desk, we say we're going to get to, and every 6 months we clean off our desk and we throw them away. All right. Read a book on Feng Shui. Get rid of the clutter in your life. All right. Get rid of that stuff because you're not going to get to it anyway. It's not going to help you. All right. Concentrate on your A priorities. And as a business owner, we tell our tag members, go hire an intern for $12-15 an hour. Get rid of the minutia. Get rid of the stuff you don't enjoy doing. Get rid of the stuff that really doesn't help you. And we tell everybody, everything you do, 80% of what you're doing, I can hire somebody for $15 an hour to do. It's that 20% that the more time you spend on those A priorities, the more money you make. So let's say I'm a sales guy and I hire somebody for 10 hours a week, to keep my projects going, keep my paperwork straight, organize and investigate who I'm going to be calling, pulling out my web pages, doing my ID agent work, all that. All right. Am I going to sell more business? And the answer to that is yes, because I'm more productive. And guess what? I'm not spending my time on my B priorities. I'm concentrating on an A. What makes me money? What makes me successful? Let me spend my time doing that. So, A priorities. So when you look at your calendar, we're going to prospect early in the morning. And the reason we prospect then is that the business owner is the first one in and the last one to leave. So we prospect early morning and late afternoon. As salespeople, we set our appointments for every day, have an appointment at 10:30 and 1:30. This alleviates traffic. It alleviates aggravation. And oh, by the way, those are the proper times that someone has some availability for you. First thing in the morning, they're getting things settled. 10:30 becomes a lull. 1:30, hey, I went to lunch. Things haven't kicked up yet. I have a lull. I can set an appointment because I've had my lunch. The most effective time. The other thing we learned, you don't need the customer setting your appointment. I've been selling the appointments at 10:30 and 1:30 most of my sales career. And you know what? Rarely do I have someone say that, oh, no, I can't meet you. I want you to meet you at a different time. And what I do is I say, well, if that day's not convenient, how about Wednesday at 1:30? Or would Friday at 10:30 be more convenient? I keep my appointment. The other thing that does for me, it focuses me in saying, wait a second, I don't have 2 appointments for next week, Wednesday, that I need to go get filled. And that appointment may be going back to the customer, part of the sales process, and so forth. But there's no reason whatsoever you cannot, if you're an effective salesperson, have 2 appointments a day. And I'm not saying they're brand new appointments. I'm saying they're part of the sales process. You're prospecting and you're proposing. You're prospecting and you're proposing. Your proposing is twice a day at 10:30 and 1:30. And if you can fill this calendar in like this, you will make any number that you want to be able to make. And then, between the appointments is when I do my follow-up. We have all the tools and the technology that allows us to do that. The other thing as a sales and an owner of a business is that twice a week, you need to be out doing something, associating with other 20s, being on boards of other companies, going out and lecturing to other companies. We at TAG allow you to use anything that we do. Those of you who were on that attributes of successful people, extremely powerful, life-changing. This is a gift to you, and it's a gift you can give to somebody else. I'm going to give you an example. Everything that TAG does, you can convert over to your own company and your own branding and your own marketing, and you as a salesperson can brand it as yourself, and you become a lecturer on a particular subjects. And I'm going to use one as an example. Go out and give attributes of successful people, or go out and give how to hire the right salespeople. 2 of the most critical aspects of any business is hiring 20s, An example I use here is that many years ago, I went to an organization, CEOs, and I came in as a guest speaker, and I gave the attributes of successful people and how to hire salespeople, the hiring process. And after the meeting, Gal came up to me and she says, Dale, we have a great company, a great product, but we've really, really struggled on hiring salespeople. I said, well, that's most companies. All right. I said, and she said, what I saw here is that if we can hire 20s, all right, we can be very, very successful. So I said, well, here, let me come over. Let me see what you have. Let me see what you're doing. And we start talking. All right. And I helped them hire 20s, and I helped them with their company. Given several times, I gave attributes of successful people, and they start bringing in 20s. Company became very successful. About a couple of years into the relationship is when I was doing all their phone systems. I was doing all their IT. It was a great account because the company was growing every month. And about 2 years into the relationship, I get an envelope from the company, and I look inside, and I get 20,000 shares of the company as warrants, which means if the company sells, that now turns into cash. And we sold the company just last year, 2019. I got a check for $200,000. Never asked for it, didn't expect it. Right? Give more than you take in life, and you can't live any better. And it's the third company that one of my customers has asked me to be on their board. And all I've done is what? I've given them the information that we give to you guys free, that you can give free to somebody, because it's the best gift you'll ever give anybody. All right. Everyone's looking for that knowledge. But where do you find those 20s? They're the ones that are out doing things. They're the ones out connecting the community. They're the ones that are giving something back to their community. They're the ones that are in organizations to learn more, to understand more. You got to join those. First thing I ask a salesperson, what do you do on an extra curriculum? What boards do you belong to? What committees are you on? What do you do in your community? And I get, not really doing anything. I said, okay, well, we know you're an 80. Not that you're a bad person, it's just you don't get it. Your business plan encompasses a life business plan. What are the dollars you want to make? What are the things that you want? What are your passions? It encompasses understanding your A priorities, getting rid of your B priorities, and forgetting, not even entertaining your C priorities. It's about marketing and branding yourself. All right. The screen back of me is I branded myself with my company. It's about marketing your product and services. It's about making appointments. It's about filling your calendars. You do that, and every one of you will make more money. And if you make more money, you're able to expand and have more choices and more options in your life. Thanks, guys and ladies.
Yeah.
Thanks, Amy, so much. All right.
Thank you, Dale. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
All right. Thank you.